So the stories so far. Well, actually, before we even dig into that, we can do a little bit around of introductions because
Oh God.
we haven't actually done this yet. I realised we did an episode, but I never actually introduced everyone and said who they are.
It's because we already did it before, and it's awkward.
We're coming in a little bit of the way in. We've already had one adventure, so let's go around. So we'll start off with let's start with Lyrune.
I'm Vlad. I play Lyrune, a wood elf Path of Mercy monk. So I punch people and I punch enemies to death, and I punch friends to life.
It's pretty apt, yeah. And yeah, this sort of slightly worldly elf. You're a far traveler, right? So you've
far traveler. I'm from way the other side of Turiel, or however you pronounce the continent, world, whatever.
The disc world.
Sure. I'm way from the other side, and I've been traveling just on foot for the past several years.
Brilliant. There we go. And then, Ravenous.
Blue skin tiefling warlock of the Great Old One. She's not really like in control of her patron in any way. She kind of grew up with it as a voice in her head and actually just thinks it's like an imaginary friend. And that's how she sort of became with the Great Old One. She grew up on the streets, so she's always seen what looking fancy looks like. So she's always been obsessed with like shiny gems and objects. She wears kind of fancy, nice silks, but she doesn't really know how to sort of take care of them. So she kind of gives off this kind of very confusing vibe where she's dressed very well, but it's usually covered in dirt and torn, and there's like no care to anything. And yeah, she's just she's kind of a bit of an oblivious person and just obsessed with shiny objects. That's kind of her bit.
Yeah, exactly. So and a bit obsessed with the shinies.
A bit.
Sure
Just a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. Which will definitely emerge as we go. But yeah, it's sort of odd juxtaposition of wearing nice stuff but not taking good care of it or herself. And then Buruk.
Right, so I'm Netrage. I'm playing Buruk, the hobgoblin fighter battlemaster at that. She joined the party a little bit late, so after their first somewhat deadly adventure. But on the bright side, he is being welcomed with open arms, and he's been a bit secluded up to this point. He hasn't really introduced him proper, so probably best to leave it at that. One thing he does take pride in, though, is his weapon collection. All of his clunking weapon collection that he can't possibly try and sneak about in because there's too many to handle.
Excellent. So this is the hobgoblin who's more weapons than sense, probably. And I'm sure you intend to only add to that. So yeah, we've got someone who's weapons obsessed, someone who's sparkly object obsessed.
Sparkle obsessed.
I'm not sure what Lyrune's obsession would be. Walking.
Punching people.
Walking and punching.
Whether it to be hurt or healed.
Probably just...
Lyrune has lived a long life. Having like obsessions with a single thing is so like last century.
Yeah, okay. There we go. So she's just a normal, well-rounded person.
Imposter, we can't have that.
Clearly an imposter. Brilliant. Okay, so Potts and Mublex they won't be in just yet because we're just wrapping up the end of last episode. So last episode. So the story so far, what happened before we got into the YouTube episodes was, the guys arrived in Dagford and basically had to do this thing called the Forge, which is this 7-story tower of various adventurer challenges, which basically proves that you're qualified to be a proper adventurer in this world. The reason that was introduced is because loads of adventurers were going out into the world and just dying, which was quite expensive because then all their orphans and widowers were left behind. And yeah, the Duchess of Daggerford, Duchess Morwen Daggerford, was not happy about that, so she got commissioned this to get built. It does have a death rate, but it's lower than the rate of death that was adventurers going out into the world. Because before it was pretty much 100%, now it's only like half. So yeah, the guys passed it with flying colours, then the last episode, we went out into Daggerford and started asking around, just seeing what was what. And yeah, you came across this refugee who, I think it's Ravenous was giving out some cat and dog jerky to various children because they were looking gaunt and hungry, these refugees. And when you're hungry enough, you'll take anything and it tastes nice. So just gobbled it up. While one was gobbling it up, she was persuasive enough to convince him to eat it. A mother told you of her woes, and you found out that her pumpkin farm had seemed to have come to life. And started ravaging away, and they'd had to run away, and that's why they've had to come into Daggerford. They're refugees from their own farm a few miles out of town, so he decided to go and help out. And actually, I have a little treat for us. So let me just get that up. Another one of Ripley's creations. So it's worth saying all the player character art in this are created by Ripley, and if my Gmail will cooperate. Is it me or is Rhythm struggling?
No, Rhythm's fine for me.
Is it all fine for you? Okay.
Yeah, it's fine.
I think it's just my headphones then, so it's all good.
Perfectly fine here.
Good. Alright, so we can take out that. Or it might even be my internet struggling.
We didn't ask her name.
Huh?
Oh yeah, we didn't actually ask her name. We knew Gertrude, but we didn't ask who the lady was.
Yes, exactly. You
Farm
never.
wife.
Just
She was just farm wife.
just this farmer woman.
Mrs. Farmer Woman to you.
Mrs. Farmer Woman. There we go. So this is thanks to Ripley and this little creation. So this is what you were fighting. These sort of almost like an awakened pumpkin. So they're these vicious talon-like vine claws, and they scamper across the ground and start raking across you. And they have these big teeth that they didn't really seem to use to attack you with, but seem to be ready for chomping and rending flesh from bone. And indeed, yes. So you didn't find out the mother's name, but you found out her child was definitely called Gertrude. Not even sure if that's how you spell Gertrude, but that's how you spell her name.
I think that's right.
Yeah, it looks about right. And you killed quite a lot of pumpkins. So you took on the first wave, which was just like 4 of them, and a big one, no problem. And then you were like prowling towards this orange barn, which you knew was where their farmstead was, because it stood out, because all the other barns are red. And then Ravenous was trying to be sneaky, but unfortunately, I think she must have stubbed her toe or something.
No, it was singing the theme tune in my head, but out loud.
Yeah, there we go, going dun 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 dun, and then they just like 10 of them turned around and started scampering towards you, and that was, I think suffice it to say, that was a pretty tough battle. I think nature just summed up pretty well. That Potts and Mublex would be coming back to a 2-man party.
I was very sure that's how it's gonna end.
We're too good.
I mean, it was. I think both of the melee, both of the melee characters were down to single-digit hit points. It was pretty hairy.
Multiple times.
There was some very good tactical play. I particularly enjoyed the health potion with a bonus action, patient defense using a key point. Yeah, nicely done. So you survived, and now.
Somebody is breathing heavy into their microphone.
Sorry, that's you, Mublex.
Mublex,
Yes.
Yeah, he's there.
Oh, he's there. Excellent. He's there, breathing heavily.
I think that's my fan. Let me.
Okay. I thought you were just kind of like sitting there, just like.
No, that's too creepy for me. I'm sorry.
Just join silently and just breathing heavily into the microphone.
What's that character from Hey Arnold that breathes heavy?
Oh God, I can't remember him now. That's so long ago.
The sneaky spy one.
You
Exactly.
know, your ID just fell from your pocket. Please pick it up. That means that you are too old right now, because that's old shit, man.
Speak up, young
Oh,
man.
Yeah, that is so old.
So,
I didn't. Sorry. Go ahead.
we'll be introducing your characters, so you and Potts' character in a little while. First, we just got to wrap this up. So, let's test out Sirenscape. Let's see how that volume comes out. So this should be far out in the corn. We'll see if that works. I can't really hear it, but I'm a bit deaf, so we'll have to rely on the people on Twitch to tell me if that's working properly and if it's not just overly loud. So you now for the continuation. So you've murdered all of the pumpkins. You were very badly wounded. I think you were just having a debate where we left off about what to do next. There was the large orange barn where the pumpkins had all been scampering all over it. I believe Ravenous was rather keen to just head straight in, probably because she's at full health and with most of her spell slots. Whereas the other two of you were like, might need to just wait a second.
I'm getting the creepy breathing, by the way.
The creepy breathing is back. Mubelex, it might be worth popping yourself on mute actually until we get you introduced.
Yeah, Lyrune is definitely just sitting down and already popping, like bandages out of their pack and just bandaging the gashes in the side.
Lovely. So yeah, she's just taking care of the worst of her wounds. Yeah, of which there are ample amounts. And yeah, the wounds, the wounds that the pumpkin talons left behind, it was a mixture of the actual scratching, but then also afterwards there's an acidic residue that was left there, and it's sort of a searing pain. So it didn't quite cauterize the wound, but it certainly stops them getting affected. But yeah, it's pretty nasty. You can see the skin sort of bobbled slightly from it. So not nice.
Yep. Likewise, Buruk is just taking a well-earned rest, just sitting down, checking all his wounds. Not too far from Lyrune, within a polite distance. And as he stops, he just...
Mooble, you are breathing mighty hard into that microphone.
Yeah.
You're breathing mighty hard into that.
I think he was saying it's his fan. There you go, it's gone.
My God.
Okay. Oh, it was getting louder. It was like
it was getting louder by the second.
Yeah, I'd actually just muted him from my
That's so weird. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
We'll get you back in soon. Right, so yeah, Buruk just sits down, definitely exhausted after all this fighting.
I don't think I actually took any damage, So I'm pretty good.
Lucky you then.
Classic
Can't say the same for myself.
Yeah, it's because your two brave heroes led to your defense, because you'd walk towards the horde of pumpkins approaching, and then once again Ravenous got a nat 20 on primal savagery, which she didn't deserve. So that's 3 out of 4 times. 3 out of 4 times. The chances are astronomical. Like 5% times 5% times 5%.
Okay, maths.
Keeps happening.
But yes. So they're bandaging themselves up. While they're doing that, so they're starting their short rest. What are you going to do, Ravenous? Are you just going to go rogue, or are you?
How far off are we from the barn at this point?
About 100 feet.
I'm probably just going to go rogue and go up to the barn and have a listen inside.
Go for it.
You did say last time that you would cast darkness on yourself.
Ah.
That was during the match.
Yeah, but I mean, you can do that whenever you want. Yeah, so you can do that now.
I don't know how many slots I've got left,
So,
I mean, I think if everybody's going to go short resting, I might as well short rest to get everything back. But then I'm going to go listen.
Well, I mean, you can do both. Warlocks get their spell slots back after a short rest.
There you go. Short rest. 2 slots. Hang on, I'm going to open a window. It's getting steamy in here because we're cooking. Hold on.
We've got chili cooking in the background. Right, so she's going to short rest with you guys. So yeah, you sit down. No more pumpkins come running after you. It seems like you've dispatched. I mean, you've dispatched already 15 of them. So you'd hope that's all you're going to come across for now. Although this was a pumpkin farm.
We did see some other odd wrestles around, but for the time being, I think we're just cleaning the weapons, checking the injuries. Looking surprised somewhat at Lyrune, because whatever happened in that fight does not seem natural, but no, Buruk just looks and quietly says, you've got my respect, sir.
Thank you very much. And Lyrune pulls more bandages. Lyrune seems to have an abundance of medical supplies. As do you mind, gesturing to your own wounds?
I would be honored.
There you go. Lovely. So yeah, you just forming those little bonds, the initial bonds of the party. Perhaps Buruk wasn't quite as keen on this venture because he was more about getting paid, and the refugee made it pretty clear she was not going to pay you. And so you make your way over. Well, you're short rested, so an hour has passed, your wounds are pretty much healed, so go ahead and roll your hit dice and whatnot. Ravenous, I know that will mean nothing to you, so I'll take care of that for you in a spare moment. But well, actually, you're full health, so you don't need to. Yeah, so yeah, you don't need to worry about this. But suffice it to say, you get to heal a certain amount when you short rest normally. Yeah, the other guys, I'll trust you to do this. If you can, try to use the CC thing just so it tracks it for you, just to make my life easier.
I think I did it the wrong. Mine are not D8s, are they?
Oh, you're a fighter. They're D10s, yeah.
Yep. Should I just discard this one altogether then? Or...
Yeah, just roll your D10s. But suffice it to say, yeah, you're the vast majority. Oh, the way it works with this as well is you can use like one hit dice, see how well you do, and just keep adding. You don't have to like commit to doing. I'm going to do 5 hit dice and see how that works out. You can just get yourself up to the right amount of health. But suffice it to say, let's say you're probably all around full health, more or less. So perhaps a couple new scars, definitely a couple new scars, but well enough to go check out the orange bar. So
yeah, if anything, I'm more concerned about the armor needs and mending.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, yeah. Buruk's chainmail armor definitely took a few nicks. So approaching the orange barn. Go for it. How are you doing it?
Sneakily.
Sneakily.
I guess that'd be stealth.
Yeah, and are you doing that? Yeah, you going visible? You darknessing? How you stealthing?
I'm just gonna be stealthy.
Okay, let's see how you roll. How about the other two of you?
I think for the moment,
I'll follow behind stealthily.
Wow.
I'm keeping my distance further back.
Yeah, I was half stealthy.
There we go. So yeah, Ravenous got a stealth check of 10. Lyrune got a stealth check of 21. And Buruk, yeah, I think it's fair to say Buruk's not really capable of stealth because
I'm not even trying to.
Yeah, when he walks,
just staying.
It's like a cup full of cutlery just shaking around is what he sounds like as he walks. So yeah, look, I even found the barn of greater orangeness. So yeah, ignore the sheep and the farmer in the picture, but yeah, it's an orange barn. I was surprised to find a picture of one, but I should have known there would be one on the internet. So you start prowling towards the barn, even though Ravenous wasn't especially stealthy and Buruk wasn't in the slightest. No hordes of pumpkins come running towards you. So yeah, the barn door stands closed, and you're gonna listen? What's that?
Yeah, I want to listen at the door.
Give me a perception check.
Not bad. 18.
18. That's pretty good actually.
Mm.
So from inside you can hear what sounds like a steady sort of vroom, vroom. And it's about once a second you can just hear it's sort of this pulsing vroom, emanating through it.
Does anybody have like any magical detection?
Not in the slightest.
One of Vlad's favourite spells. But
it really truly is, but Lyrune can't do any magic.
It's very unusual. I suspect you'll be shopping for certain items. But yeah, so none of you have the ability. I mean, if anything, Ravenous, you're the only, in fact, arcane person in the party. Party?
Okay.
Party.
In
the party.
What I would like to do, I'm going to say, okay, guys, I think you need to back up away a little bit. And so I'm going to spider climb up on above the door so that I can sort of look in and not be a target. And I'm going to use my cantrip of Mage Hand to open the door.
Nice. Good work. Yeah.
I'm going to be standing behind, so I'm not in line of sight of the door being opened.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
if the door is like here, I'm like over here.
Okay, that's fine. As long as you're not in sight of the door straight away.
It's a sort of military operation. Yeah. One of you standing to the side. One of you actually climbing above the door to like peer down. Buruk, how about you?
I think I'm just standing on the road with my weapon drawn in case something comes out of that door. Because let's put it this way: if something comes out and you're on top of that door, it's not exactly the safest spot, is it?
Sure.
I'd rather be ready for that.
So yeah, Buruk just standing, pretty much in full sight, ready to act as decoy. So Ravenous, how's your mage hand look?
It's kind of like it's the same as everything. So it's like a glittery black smoky hand, but it has the iridescence of purple in there with a bit of pinkishness, and it just kind of goes. Ooh.
Yeah. So Ravenous just swirls her hands, and you can see initially the outlines start forming out of the air, this like purple outlines, and then they're slowly filled in by this black smoky essence, and there's this sort of purple iridescence running through it, and this hand slowly forms out of the air, and it just moves to the handle of the barn door and just starts sliding it open, and immediately a singular ravenous pumpkin comes scampering out. I imagine you'll probably be able to insta-kill this, so let's just see if you just all roll your attacks. I'm just going to see if you just insta-kill this lone pumpkin.
Do I just roll Eldritch?
Yeah, you just do an Eldritch Blast.
Oh wait, do I need... It's not... Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that hits. That's missing all your stuff. You didn't copy-paste your special one that I put in your log channel for you. You also get to move your hex as well, so you'll get to add 1d6, and it'll be.
Wait, but the hex is the hex not finished now?
No, it lasts an hour. It is finished now. You are correct. But 6 plus the 5. Yeah, so it's dead. This one lone pumpkin comes scampering out of the barn and it's gnashing teeth away, and immediately the party throws its arcane spells at it. So or various abilities. So Ravenous just summons that purple meteorite comet, and splats it from above. Lyrune just hurls 2 punches. One just glances harmlessly off of its hardened pumpkin exterior. The other one just punches straight through and takes out another handful of innards. This time, the innards that you pull out, Odin's paying us a visit. This time, the innards that you rip out of it, it's not just pumpkin, and this time it's no bloody guts from what it's been eating. It's a handful of grain. And finally, it was running straight forward for the first thing it saw, and that was Buruk, who was standing with his battle axe. So he was just running straight towards him. He just splats it straight in half. Another one bites the dust, or rather bites the battle axe. So, inside, what do you find? So it looks like you find 3 bodies.
Oh dear.
No!
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so you might recognise some of this character art. It's some of the stuff that Ripley's been drawing over the last year. You find the body of this sort of thick, weighty-looking turtle, a live-looking, dexterous Yuan Ti, and it's this roguish lizard folk. Their bodies have been pretty much torn apart, and it looks like this was the previous adventurer party that was sent here. They'd called themselves the Cold-Blooded Killers, mostly because they're all cold-blooded. Yeah. Cold-blooded thrillers, actually, is what I'd call them. But killers, thrillers, whatever you prefer. You find these 3 bodies just scattered inside in the barn. There's like pools of blood, and their bodies are just covered in lacerations. And interestingly, they haven't really been eaten. So despite what the pumpkin's behaviour has been elsewhere, you've seen that they've been eating various small rodents and things. These adventurers haven't been eaten, and their belongings are pretty much scattered around. So there's a hand crossbow, there's a club, a wooden shield, and a short sword, and a couple of daggers.
Do you think?
Sorry. No, go for it.
Did you say they were eaten?
No, they were
eaten.
These haven't been eaten.
Torn apart.
They haven't been. Okay.
Lyrune, just muses out loud. Do you think that these pumpkins aren't actually eating these things? They're only attacking living creatures, not actually scavenging once they're dead?
Well, the adventurers don't seem too alive, do they? Let's see if we can see what got them. And Buruk will just bend down by one of them to figure out Why would they be dead? What was the main cause? Because you mentioned numerous scratches, but that doesn't sound like lethal.
Just bend down and ask them, why are you dead?
Why are you dead?
If only Nanto was here.
Why are you lying?
Could these be the
Would that
fellow
be
adventurers of the guard, that guy that we met before we left town? You know, he said that he'd lost his three friends looking for the pumpkin problem.
Maybe.
So maybe we should take a something from each to bring back to him as a gift.
I mean, we are taking something from each, but definitely not for bringing back.
Well, while you're talking amongst yourselves, though, you cannot help but notice that steady pulsing is still continuing, and in the centre of not in the centre, tucked into a corner of the barn, it's behind a load of hay bales, but you can feel the pulsing coming from that direction, so it's not particularly well hidden or anything. And you can see there is just poking out the top from them is a rather large looking pumpkin. You feel the pulsing coming from that direction. What do you do?
I will spider climb onto the ceiling to get a better look.
Nice, good memory. You see, you're getting the hang of remembering your spider climbing slippers now.
They make my life so much easier.
It really does. So yeah, immediately you can see it's what appears to be a massive pumpkin, and you do see what look like crude features in its face. So you can see what looks like what would become eyes, what would become a mouth, but they don't seem to have fully opened like the earlier pumpkins we've seen. It's almost like it's in the process of being made.
Okay.
So I would keep an eye on wherever Ravenous is going, but still trying to figure out what happened to the adventurers. And would a 17 medicine check with help from Lyrune, with also a 17 medicine, help on that?
So yeah, just looking over their wounds, you would see it's the same wounds that you guys have been taking from the pumpkins. So loads of scratches, and you see the acidic burn marks along the edges of the wounds where the skin's still bobbled horribly. So yeah, it looks like they met the same fate as you, except they weren't just about successful. They failed. Yeah.
And
Or do you think that these adventurers were left for a snack for this newborn pumpkin over here?
Are there any marks of them being dragged inside? Let's see.
17 medicine check. Give me an investigation check.
While they're investigating, I use my mage hand to poke the pumpkin.
3 investigation.
Yeah.
No marks whatsoever, I suppose.
What's a mark? Yeah, 3 mage hand poke. What's Lyrune doing?
Actually, can I assist that investigation check since we're both kind of thinking the same thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Can I assist your investigation check?
Yeah.
I'm just rolling an extra 1d20.
Yeah, exactly.
Not far better, though.
Now 5. So yeah, 5 in the investigation total. So they could have been dragged in, they could have been murdered while in here. It's hard to say. All you know is that they have been murdered and they are here. Meanwhile, Ravenous, the purple sparkling hand that just opens the barn door just zooms across the room and just reaches over towards a large pumpkin, extends into a pointed finger, just goes boop, and just pokes the side of the pumpkin. No reaction.
Can I continue using the mage hand, and it just kind of goes psh, psh, across the face? Just to be sure, that it's definitely not gonna eat us right now.
Okay, so you try to provoke it as much as you can. No reaction.
Okay. Is there any visual on the pulsing? Like, is there some kind of light or portal-y type thing that would be
Give me a
obvious
perception
to us?
check.
Oh, okay.
In fact, everyone give me a perception check, because I think you would all be looking around you quite actively.
Especially once.
These rolls, Buruk.
I'm gonna bless.
That's the price for
I'm gonna
lucky.
guidance myself.
Yeah, you can do that. So you get an extra 1d4. But Lyrune's got a 14. Buruk got an 8. Buruk he's good at one thing. That's not investigating or looking at things. It's
No,
definitely,
I think at this point he's still fully exhausted from the battle before.
yeah. Well, yeah. You've got all of your resources back now. So you've got your accent surge. You've got your 4 or 5 superiority dice. Your 7
5.
wins. Yeah.
It's everything, really.
I've got 3 on my
Yeah,
table.
Ravenous ends up with 15. So, yeah, Lyrune and Ravenous both notice this. Every time there's a vroom, there's just an ever so slight brightening in the orange skin.
We need to get rid of that thing now. Are you guys ready for an assault?
Maybe. I was thinking we could try and roll it out the barn and see if the barn maybe is something causing it.
Let us dispose of it. The sooner the better.
Yeah. It's
Okay. I want to know what it is that's making it happen, though, because by destroying it, we're not going to find that out, I don't think.
It doesn't look like the womping is womping. It's a new word. Is coming from inside the pumpkin.
I think it is.
Would you like to put your ear against it?
Yeah, well, that would be the way to find out. So yeah, you feel the vroom, you can hear it. It's coming from that direction. You can see the skin brightening, but to determine exactly the nature of the sound, you'd have to put your ear to it and listen. Really,
Definitely not doing that.
I'll do it!
100.
Ravenous gonna go. Your caster.
She's like poked and bitch slapped this thing and it hasn't moved, pressing her ear against it. She feels like she'll be safe.
Okay,
Ish.
go for it. Give me a perception check with advantage because you have literally got your ear up against it. So let's see.
And guidance.
Yeah, and guidance. Just do all of it. Yeah, just.
How do I do advantage?
Space ADV on the end.
AD. Oh, that's not how you spell ADV. And it didn't like it.
Yeah, it's check, not R.
Oh, that makes more sense.
Yeah.
And then roll 1d4 for your guidance on yourself.
Still a question. Does advantage affect the guidance roll?
I for laziness, no.
I have always thought that it did not.
No, yeah, I think it just you just roll 2d20s and add your default result, so you get 16.
Yep.
So Ravenous just clambers down from the ceiling over straight towards this massive pumpkin, puts her ear right up to it, and you can actually feel. Now you're up against it, your ear can actually feel the vibration. It feels like it comes from deep inside the giant pumpkin.
Okay, looks like we need someone to carve this thing. Buruk!
Lyra just immediately looks to Buruk's giant axe.
Yeah, that axe is ready for the task, but that said, Buruk just looks at the pumpkin and says, should we roll this outside first?
That's what I said, and nobody said yes.
Lyra shakes his head no, wanting to get this done like now.
We don't want it to form in the time we try and roll it.
All right then, and he just raises his axe as high as it goes, and brings it down in full swing, right on top of the pumpkin.
Good. Give me an attack roll.
Yep. It's always an issue to write it out on.
With advantage because it's
Not attacking.
Yeah, it's,
That's going to be 20 to hit and 5 slashing.
Is it asleep?
depends.
No,
Well,
it's not
not-
formed, is what the description was. It's kind of like it's mid forming its mouth and eyes.
I was wondering if it was incapacitated, so auto crit for melee. Just throwing it out there.
It's technically
Yeah,
an inanimate object.
Yeah, it is incapacitated. So yeah, good point. So go ahead and roll me another d10 because that's an auto crit. So yeah, you got effectively a 20 to hit and then 9 damage in total. So yeah, Buruk raises his massive axe and just swings it two-handed straight into its face, and it just starts cleaving away, hacking it apart, and all these pumpkin innards just start spilling out. And as you start spilling out, it's almost like a pinata. The contents of it start spilling out over you and over the floor. So there's pumpkin innards. There's a lot of foodstuffs, grains, and corn, and all the various other various foodstuffs you'd seen growing as you were coming on your way out of town, and a few stuffs that you hadn't seen growing there as well. And there's a few small furry things, half digested, that start spilling out as well. So looks like it's been. Well, you can draw your own conclusions from that. So you start hacking it apart, it starts spilling out until you get to the source of the vroom.
The Whomping.
The Whomping. So inside you see this. It's a blue crystalline orb laced with sort of purple threads of energy. And you can see every time it goes vroom, all the purple threads glow in unison throughout it.
Can I attack the orb?
Huh?
Can I attack the orb?
You can certainly try it. What were you saying, Natrich?
No, Buruk just goes, dark magics. Stay away from that thing.
So it's opposite reactions. Dark magic, stay away. Punch it to death.
No, actually going to for the first time is actually going to use his staff because it's like, yeah, that's a good idea, but it needs to be destroyed.
Ravenous is a little bit
staff.
reserved about this because the Whomping making it light up makes it rather shiny.
It's definitely shiny. It's very shiny.
It's very tempted to mage hand it out of the way.
Well,
and then put it in a bag.
I'm not touching that for sure, and I'm staying away from it. Honestly, I don't think we should be in the same barn as it.
Do we feel any effect from this? Like, are we feeling any sort of, nauseous? Are we feeling like uneasy because of it? Or is there like any kind of physical reaction to the Whomping?
No effect on you.
Buruk certainly does feel uneasy about it, but that's more of his own volition.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Perhaps a psychological reaction, but no physical reactions in any of you.
I would like to bag it up, boys, and maybe take it to some. Oh, sorry, yeah. You have attacked it first. Sorry, okay.
Yeah, so Lyrune, before any of you can even react, Buruk's like, sees this and is like, nope. Backs away. Lyrune, no hesitation, immediately just moves forward with the quarterstaff to try and whack. Give me an attack roll.
12 to hit for 11 damage. Not the best.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Lyrune just immediately moves forward to the quarterstaff, and a crack just comes up across its centre. And all that purple iridescence that's through it starts flooding out of that crack.
No.
And then
you're making it less shiny.
The next time that the vroom would have come around, the whole thing just goes, it just shatters.
Oh no!
And a blast wave, that purple iridescence just washes out through the barn, and it seems to go inert.
If he had managed to do so, would be already hiding behind something. Most likely, he wouldn't get out of the way quick enough, would he?
This mighty, sort of hobgoblin warrior just immediately scampers behind the nearest piece of cover, just cowering.
Now, you see, there are two things. A walking pumpkin that tries to bite you, that I can deal with. I can slash it up. A weird orb, shining, power, magics? Nope. No.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Ravenous seems to have, again, quite a different reaction.
Well, I'm now very upset. Because the shininess is gone, and I have no shinies now.
So, just to confirm, does the light seem to have dissipated with no effect, really?
Yeah. Exactly. Right. So wherever it was, it seems to be broken and inert.
Well, I'm still staying there for a few seconds until it's clear that Pumping is gone and everyone else is still alive, and everyone who was dead is still dead. And then finally get out from behind the box that I had found and just look. Is that evil thing gone?
it doesn't look like it's doing anything anymore. So I would hope so.
Then thank you for dealing with that. I don't like whatever it was. Let's hope that there aren't many such things around.
Agreed.
No.
And with that, Buruk just somewhat composes himself and moves back to the three adventurer bodies. There
Yeah.
was voting to be done.
If you want to do anything, Ravenous, because I have something. If not,
No, the only thing that Ravenous wants to do is collect the shields of each of the adventurers to take back to find that guy so he can lay them to rest in his own way.
Lyrune will take the 2 halves and put them in 2 different bags, and take them with them.
Interesting.
Cool.
Good idea.
So you're going to take the halves of the sundered crystal back home. Yeah, so Ravenous, I think it's fair to say, is a bit upset, but not overly so. Just upset at the loss of a shiny. Now it's no longer shiny, probably less interested in it anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there seems to be no reaction from these various smash pumpkins from the detonation of this thing. Yeah, and yeah, you're going to gather up the shields to take back to the the caravan guard
The
you had seen.
adventurer, yeah.
Well, it's a caravan guard, not an adventurer.
Okay,
but
well, they were his friends.
Yeah,
We think.
you reckon? So you can take them back to him. The various shields. So yeah, there was one big wooden shield that belonged to the turtle. Give me
It's kind of bigger than me.
give me an investigation check as you start going over the adventurers' bodies.
Well, I
That
think
would be 11.
I think that's more Buruk's one, yeah, because he's going over them properly. Yeah.
Cool. Let me, you find something curious amongst a couple of them as well. There's 2 small stones that you find. One on the turtle and one on the yuan ti. And you don't quite recognise the nature of them, but you do know. Actually, Buruk might not know actually because
No,
he's not.
I know exactly when they're supposed to be out of character, but Buruk would just be investigating them. Is there anything engraved on them? Do they look shinier, more polished? Anything that would draw his eye above them just being some odd pebble someone carried?
Yeah, so there is engravings as fine. In fact, let me just. Yeah, so engraved on them is on each of the stones is a face. It looks like a fairly humanoid-looking face. One is actually the turtle's face, and one is the yuan ti's face. And both faces have their mouths open.
Okay. So yeah, Buruk would definitely should grab those and just show them offhandedly to Lyrune, saying, "Looks like they had a memento of each other."
Can I make an Arcana check to recognize what they are?
No, I'm afraid not.
Okay.
Yeah, I like the idea of identify spells. So yeah, even though you don't have a wizard, maybe you'll get a wand of identification at some point or some way of achieving this. But yeah, I'm afraid not.
But he at least realized that there is something magical about them.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So you, in fact, give me an Arcana check to let you see if you can work out that they are. Yeah, obviously you all know. Well, Ravenous probably doesn't know, but you all know exactly what these are immediately. But...
Yeah, and given that they have these specific engravements, I'm not sure we'll be able to use them.
Well, we'll see. Maybe. Give me, Lyrune, give me. Oh yeah, that was your Arcana check. It's 9. Yeah, 9's not great. Yeah, you know that they are more than what they appear, but that's about it.
Lyrune is a very magical person. Magic of the body.
Key magic.
Yeah. Well, if you see any value in them, perhaps we can keep them. Otherwise, I think it's worth to return them to that soldier along with the mementos.
No, let's definitely keep them. I wish Nanto was here. He'd probably be better at this.
Perhaps best to show them to him then.
Yeah. Exactly.
And with that, Buruk just, passes them off to Lyrune and continues on going through the equipment, seeing if there are any pouches, any coins. Apparently not with too much success.
Yeah, not too much discovered, but gold is fairly obvious. So yeah, you find amongst them actually there's just one pouch of gold. So it seemed like the turtle held all their gold for them, almost like standard bearer in some mercenary companies. He's almost in charge of the money for them. So you find a total of 25 gold pieces. Not much. Not very...
Hey, it's only split between us three.
Yeah, good luck splitting 25 between three though.
I may have slightly burnt dinner, sorry.
That's okay. Alright, so you gather up the stuff. So you gather up the shields to take back to that refugee caravan guard you'd seen. You gather up, there's 25 gold pieces you found on the turtle. That's to be split between the three of you. So good luck splitting that. You've got the two halves of the sundered crystal that you found inside this giant, not quite fully formed mega pumpkin, the Pumpkin Lord.
How big / how heavy are the halves?
Each way, so the crystal itself was about 1/2 foot in diameter, and so that's about like that. So each half weighs about a pound, so it's not overly heavy,
Okay,
but like weighty. Like if you threw that at someone, it would hurt.
Sure.
So-
I just immediately had the concern of walking out of here with a this.
yeah. It's quite hard to tell from that image what the relative scale is. Yeah. What were you going to say, Nature? Sorry.
So they're slightly bigger than an apple, essentially.
Sorry, one sec. Alexa, stop.
No exercise
Yeah,
today.
it's the 7 p. I need to change that for Sundays. The 7 p.m. you must exercise today alarm. So you've collected all your stuff. You're gonna, I assume, make your way back to Daggerford.
Yeah, probably just leave those 3 bodies in a bit more honorable state. Perhaps just put some piece of cloth over them or anything.
Yes.
Just
Let's burn him.
no. This barn is still going to be needed by people
You could just burn the bodies.
Take them outside and burn them.
in a cornfield. Do you want a fire?
On
here?
the road.
No,
Cover them in some straw and then burn them. Done.
that sounds like a terrible idea. But if I'm in the majority,
I'm agreeing with Buruk. Let's just cover them and call it a day.
Well, that's not very nice for the poor farm wife to come back to, these rotting corpses in her barn.
as long as it's not the pumpkins.
Perhaps something even more respectable needs to be done. Perhaps a cart can be gathered and they can be brought back. But we could worry about that later.
Well, I've got that shit, so we'll just leave them. It's fine. I have no real justice in this. Like, no thought on it.
Yeah.
Other than fire.
Ravenous. It's a new personality trait has emerged from Ravenous: pyromaniac and Chinese.
Shiny.
You cover up the bodies there. Yeah, there's a few threadbare pieces of fabric, sort of blankets that you can just throw over the bodies and just leave them in a slightly better state than how you found them. But yeah, as I say, they're pretty cut up badly, but more or less recognisable. You gather up your shields, your 25 gold pieces, your sundered crystal, and you make your way back to Daggerford.
Leave the barn as locked as possible.
Sorry, Nature, did you go?
Sorry, just making sure that the barn is as locked as possible and keeping an eye for anything else that's a bit unnatural around.
Cool.
Because I don't trust a place which has living pumpkins.
Yeah, fair enough. So and you did see some run across the road earlier that haven't come across the dew yet. So there's definitely, you haven't taken care of all the pumpkins.
Oh, right. I forgot about that. Let's go deal with all of them before we send Gertrude and the farmer wife. Did we ask her name?
Nope.
No, we didn't. We had a whole thing about this.
Yeah, I'm being silly in character.
Ah, gotcha. So yeah,
Oh,
for the sake of expediency, you have a little look around, but you can't see any sign of those pumpkins that scampered across the road. Perhaps they've run off now that the crystal has been demolished. Who knows?
or they've stopped
Let-
being.
Yeah, let's just hope
Maybe
they
it's
stop
also
being
the
sentient and alive.
Maybe they're no
Yep.
longer sentient or alive. Who knows?
In either
Um,
case, the barn will stay boarded in a way that hopefully pumpkins can't reach. You know, just a plank put against the door handle. Hopefully they won't figure out that one.
In terms of the gold that we received, Ravenous hates maths, so she says, "Oh, you guys can just have 10 each. I'll just take the 5."
There you go. I think she'd actually did
Okay.
quite well out of the ruby situation, so it's
Sure
probably
thing.
fair. And you make your way back to Daggerford. So while I said this road is out to the east, I actually got confused about the maps with Daggerford. While Succumber is to the east, all the farmland is actually to the west. So Daggerford's not quite on the coast, it's along the river, just a little bit in from the coast. So you basically follow a road that bends round and sort of in a U-turn, which takes you in through the western gate of Daggerford, the Farmer's Gate, which is just so happens to be where the other two members of your party were hanging out. So